Good evening, everyone. This is the GOATcast, and we are back in 2023 with season 4 of the GOATcast. I know I've been MIA for a while. My last upload was the Black Panther Wakanda Forever spoiler review. That was been a little while. Of course, we had Christmas and New Year and all that, so had a lot going on. Busy schedule with my son and his middle school team, basketball team, and my daughter, she's a cheerleader, so just a lot of things going on. But season 4 is here now, and I thought we'd go back to the origins, which was sports and mainly NBA. I know we had the Super Bowl last night. Great game. Well, I say great game until the last 5 minutes of the game, because 5 minutes of the actual clock running. It probably took 20 minutes to finish out that 5 minutes, but it was a great game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. I didn't really have a dog in the fight, so I didn't care. I was kind of leaning with the Eagles, but I was mad when they came up a little short. So, but congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs. They worked hard, because at halftime, many people just kind of wrote them off. They were down by 10, and but they walked away NFL's 2023 Super Bowl champions. So congrats to Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But for now, we are going to flip over to the NBA, National Basketball Association, and we got a lot going on. Last week was a historic week for the NBA, because LeBron James did break the scoring title that was held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for almost as long as I've been alive. So, so last 30, I think, plus years, he's had that record, and LeBron, through his sustained health and his ability to keep, producing on the court, was able to break that record. Big deal. I think I feel like we take stats, because being a father of a young man that's playing basketball, put a lot of stock in points when there's so many different aspects of the game. And I'm not knocking, scoring that's the way you win the game. So you have to score. So there's got to be someone that can put the ball in the basket. LeBron has done it successfully and sustained the ability to do it at a high clip for a long time, for 20 seasons. So that's a big deal. But the emphasis on points is such a big deal these days that it dilutes some of the other aspects of the game. And I know I'm going on a separate tangent, but it does dilute the game a little bit, because kids, AAU kids, and just team, school team kids, they're so focused on how many points they score, how many points I score. They don't rebound, they don't play defense, they they don't pass. All they care about is that one stat, and I think that's a little misleading in a game that is a team game. Anyway, off that tangent, congratulations to LeBron James. Currently a Los Angeles Laker. He did it on his home court, and he did it with a packed house. Jay-Z, Denzel, you almost name it, they were there. So, big deal. It was a big deal. And, I'm the biggest LeBron hater. I will admit to that, and I will not, I won't change that stance. But I'll give him props where props is due, and that's a longevity title that will probably last a long time. So he can, when he leaves, he's going to leave with one of the main all-time stats, and that's big. And that you can't deny that, and you can't brush that under the rug. So for that matter, I do feel like LeBron's kind of etched his way into the potential Mount Rushmore of the NBA. Without that, I think that there's players that could kind of push him off and that could sneak in there. But with this scoring title, I think there's no denying that he is one of the pillars of the NBA, past, present, and future. So I think this solidifies him as a top 4 player. Now that leads us to the common argument, common debate: LeBron versus Michael Jordan. LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. Who's the greatest? Who's the GOAT? This is, of course, the GOATcast. So I should have some opinion on that. And my opinion has never wavered, never will waver. I think that a lot of people feel that there's really nothing LeBron at this point in his career could do to catch up to Michael, and I'm one of those, because now he's just chasing longevity stats. And even with another championship, I think that ship has sailed, because I don't think that these sporadic championships prove that he's a better player. It's already statistically been proven that in their primes, Michael Jordan was a better player all around. So I think that ends the debate. I don't know why we debate that anymore. Is LeBron a better? Does his longevity make him a better basketball player? I don't know. I think Michael could do some of the same things he did in his, higher up there in age. We saw it with the Wizards. He was still 20-point plus. Not as efficient, and the athleticism just wasn't there. But he was still able to play 82 games, and he was still able to produce. So I think that so basically, with all that said, there's no way you can put LeBron ahead of Jordan. The picture's been circulating around there. Jordan did more in 15 seasons than LeBron's done in 20. More titles, as far as championship titles, more titles as far as stat titles, whether it be scoring, defense. He led the league in steals. He led the league in scoring for I don't know how many years. I think they said 10 seasons, something like that. All NBA defense 9 times, I believe it was. I mean, Michael did both. He played both ends of the ball, and he did that at what we can see at a better rate. And I think that there's just no way you can, other than these longevity stats, there's nothing you can argue that LeBron has done that should lift him above Michael Jordan. There's just not. And if there is, please let me know in the comment section. Please email me. Please, whatever you want to do. But right now, I think even with this, the scoring title, the scoring accolade, it's still over. But kudos to LeBron, and he will probably hold that title for a long, long, long time. I probably won't see it broken. So with that said, we're gonna move on to another major thing that went on last week: trade deadline. I'm thinking trade deadlines usually happen after the All-Star break, if I'm not mistaken. But I guess this year it happens happened before. Yeah, and we had a couple of blockbusters, and it started before the trade deadline this year was on February 9th, last Thursday. But we had some big ones ahead of time. I'm not going to go through every trade deadline trade because that would be boring. We're going to go through the ones that actually mean something and potentially can be a major acquisition for the teams that did this. We're going to start with the Lakers. Since we were talking about LeBron, we're going to keep on the Lakers. Lakers probably were maybe the most active in the trade deadline, and we had a feeling that was coming because they're sitting at 13th in the West right now, and things don't seem to be getting any better. So they just went for it, and I'm going to quickly go through their acquisitions. Of course, they were able to get Rui Hachimura from the Washington Wizards. I think 6'8", 6'9", wing, can shoot, can defend pretty well. They only gave up Kendrick Nunn, who wasn't really doing much. Now here's the big one. On Thursday they acquired D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, and Jared Vanderbilt, all coming from a mix of Utah and Minnesota. They gave up Juan Toscano-Anderson, Damian Jones, and the big one, Russell Westbrook. Now, I feel Russell Westbrook was given a bad break because he was adjusting to his six-man role, and I thought he was adjusting well. Of course, they were still losing some, but I felt like he embraced it, and he was playing it well, I thought. So for them to essentially give up on him, I thought was, that's basketball, but I felt like he was a scapegoat, and yeah. So they also got rid of Pat Bev, who they traded away for. Who was it? Sorry. I lost that. For Mo Bamba. Decent. I mean, you got another big. And of course, they let go Thomas Bryant, who I thought was doing a very serviceable job for them with AD out. But I guess since AD's back and they're assuming health, that his services were no longer needed. So he's traded to Denver for Devon Reed. I don't know what position he plays. I doubt he'll be much of a help to them. So with that said, we look at the new look Lakers. We have D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, and Mo Bamba. Some young guys, some shooters, a defender, two decent defenders. If this was if we were back in game 20 of the season and we still had 60-some games, or if this was game 41 and we had 41 more games, we were halfway through, I'd say, well, this is going to help the Lakers a lot because they're going to have time to gel and they're going to have time to win, and they're going to probably have a pretty decent record going into playoff season. But with 20-something games left, although the West isn't blazing as far as you look at the records and everybody's just kind of in the same kind of 500 club kind of, you may have one or two that are 2 or 3 games over. You got a couple 2-3 games under. You got a couple right there at 500. So, we really don't have anybody run away as far as playoff contenders. But, what you do not have is a whole lot of room for, you don't have a lot of wiggle room right now if you're the Lakers. Right now you're 13th. You're firmly at 13. You're going to need some people to lose. Some teams start losing. After trade deadline and some teams giving up some stuff, especially some of the the teams that, kind of just gave up, Utah, teams like that, you will see them kind of, trickle down. But the Lakers still have to win these games. And unfortunately, the Lakers don't have a comfy schedule. They don't get the Spurs or the Rockets a whole lot. They're going to have some playoff teams. And it'll be interesting to see how they do when it gets closer to playoff times and teams that are fully entrenched into the playoffs may sit some of their starters possible for easy wins. So I think the Lakers got better. I think they will probably fight for a play-in tournament spot. And I think they'll be a team, especially those 4 teams or those 3 other teams in the play-ins, probably don't want to see. But does this make them a contender? Does this make them a team that I feel like can get to the finals? Absolutely not. Even with a healthy AD, aging LeBron, D'Angelo Russell, these new pieces, I think more established teams, Denver Nuggets, even the Grizzlies, teams like that. And we'll talk about another team here in a second. Those teams have a little more, what they're lacking maybe with superstar. They have, I think, in some type of normalcy that they are used to each other, played with each other. I think we will see, that kind of uniform, comfortability with each other, beat out talent in the end, I think. Even the Clippers. And we'll get to them in a second also. But, that's the Lakers. If I was to grade, them now, I'd say their trade deadline was a B. Got the job done. They got some assets out. But your return was decent. But will it be enough? I don't know. I don't think so. But now we're going to move to the blockbuster of the trade deadline, and that was Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns. Now, Kevin Durant and T.J. Warren to the Phoenix Suns. Now, Phoenix had to load up. They had to send a lot to Brooklyn, and in the shape of Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges, who else? Drawing a blank right now. Oh, Jay Crowder, and a bunch of picks over the next couple of years. So they hauled off a lot of their future for win now with KD. And there's some other minor stuff they did, but for the most part, only thing that matters is Kevin Durant is coming to Phoenix to play along with Devin Booker and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. Are they the favorites? Gotta see him play. Does this make the West interesting? Absolutely. I think that where Denver seemed to be, Denver was hovering as the best team. That, the only thing about Denver is they haven't been that great in the playoffs, so it was kind of wide open. But now you got the Phoenix Suns, who have a big 3 that's going to be a big factor going forward. And I think that Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns is going to make the West. I think that teams are going to definitely try to position themselves in a certain way out west. That's a team you don't want to play first. That's a team that you're hoping can since you at least got two guys a little injury prone in Chris Paul and KD right now. The longer they're in the playoffs, the more likely they can get a little wear and tear. So they're definitely a team that teams are going to be like doing their best to stay away from. But if I want to grade that, I'd give it an A-. KD gets healthy, Chris Paul stays healthy, Devin Booker stays healthy. That's a lot of scoring. And DeAndre Ayton, he's going to eat. It's going to be tough. I think that they are definitely should be favorites out west. I don't see another team that's really matches up that super well with them. Maybe the team I'm about to talk about, the Clippers, who I don't know if they really got better, but they unloaded some players. The Clippers, if healthy, which is a big if with them, unfortunately, they have the defenders to really give teams, especially in the playoffs, when the game slows down, if they are healthy and are able to produce on both sides, that being Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Eric Gordon, he's a veteran. He can hit some decent shots for you. They pulled him in an acquisition that sent Luke Kennard to Memphis and John Wall and Danny Green to Houston. So he's a veteran that can give them some points. He's not going to give you a whole lot more. He's not going to defend. But he's definitely going to give you some points. And then they got Mason Plumlee from the Charlotte Hornets, and after trading Reggie Jackson, who, he served his purpose, but I can see them wanting to upgrade from him. He hasn't been the best this season. They still need a point guard. So, there's rumors out there that maybe Russell Westbrook. I really think that if the Clippers did get Westbrook, they got under control Westbrook. And with Kawhi, with Paul George, addition of Plumlee to back up Zubac, Eric Gordon, Nick Batum, all the players they have now, they're a team you don't want to see either. Because they're going to have a lot of... there'll be a defensive team that's going to be tough to score on. And, if Paul George and Kawhi get back to form, they're a team that can put up points. So if I'm grading theirs, it's a B-. They got rid of some pieces and got some pieces that aren't terrible. So I think that the Clippers will be another team that could, give problems, especially out west. And if they can get everybody healthy, that's the big thing with them. If everybody's healthy, I think we could see I think they could be a team that can potentially get to the Western Conference semifinals or the Western Conference Finals, matter of fact. And if it's Suns and Clippers, that's going to be a really tough matchup. The last Western Conference team I'm going to talk about is Dallas Mavericks, who also made a huge splash with the acquisition of Kyrie Irving from the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn just said, they're going all in as far as getting rid of these superstars that, weren't quite panning out. They're going to get assets for them. So Kyrie Irving to Dallas for Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith. You lose defense for Dallas, who's not the greatest defensive team. Luka, not much of a defender. They got certain guys. They got JaVale McGee and guys that can come off and rim protect and stuff like that, but they're not a great wing defending team. But to get Markieff Morris also, he can do a little something for him. But the big acquisition was Kyrie, and does that boost them? We'll see. I think that this one is a wait and see, kind of like Phoenix, but expectation wise, I would give them an iffy A minus, because if Kyrie's all in Kyrie, Cleveland, when they won the championship, Kyrie, that tandem of Luka and Kyrie will be tough to match up with, and they can sneak into the Western Conference Finals as well. They were able to do it. Just with Luka. Now they have another actual star who can put points on the scoreboard with ease. So the only hit for them will be defense, and can they outscore these teams? That's the biggest question. But I think that's a question that we will get answered. But and the East has some decent trades. Jay Crowder's going to the Bucks, and Mike Muscala from the Thunder is going to the Boston Celtics. He's a great shooter, big man who could score, basically. So I think they upgrade there, and that's pretty much it. So trade deadline, a lot of stuff went out. The West got extremely better. East got little bits and pieces that could make already title contenders even more title contenders. But I don't think there was a huge splash out East. I mean, Brooklyn got a whole different look, but they're not going to be title favorites at all. So this brings me to my last topic, which is who are my title favorites. And we're going to not go long on this. I'm going to do my top three, who I think the top three teams will be out East and out West, and who I think our finals will be. In the East, I think we will end with Boston, Milwaukee, and I want to say Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is playing well. Everybody from Joel Embiid to James Harden are all in. They could pick up a piece, but I don't think they need a whole lot. They just need for everybody to be healthy, everybody to be on board, and for Doc to really be Doc. As far as Milwaukee, I think they got everything they need. I think they're already a title favorite. They just have to get Chris Middleton well enough to play big minutes and to be on the floor in the starting lineup. In Boston has lots of young players, lots of young hungry players, mixed in with Al Horford, the veteran, and they've been there. They tasted the NBA Finals. So I feel like they're hungry and they're ready. And I think they're going to continue their winning ways. They're going to continue being a problem for a lot of teams. They got the defense. They got the offense. It's just put it all together on a big run. Now, out West, let me look at the standings right now, because it feels like there's still a lot of NBA left when there's not. I really think that Denver will hold on to be the number one seed out West. I don't think that any team's going to just move up that much. I think they're pretty safe. I think Memphis will probably stay pretty safe, but I think Phoenix will climb into that top 3 spot. I think Sacramento, they're having their issues. They won recently, but they're not. They're 5-5 in the last 10. Clippers, I think they're going to keep load managing, so I don't see them, making any leaps as far as as long as they stay out of the play-in and try to probably stay away from Phoenix. I think they'll maintain their spot. And Dallas, I think they'll have some growing pains in the next couple of, weeks. I think that the Kyrie Luka thing is going to have to, there'll be some growing pains, some learning curve, and eventually they'll get it together. But I think that in the West it'll be Denver, Memphis, and Phoenix. So that'll be top three for the East: Boston, Milwaukee, Philly, and I think out West it'll be Denver, Memphis, and Phoenix. So that brings me to who's my final two teams. Is it a team that's in the top three of each conference, or is it somebody, a dark horse? My gut, I'm gonna say what my gut and my brain, because it's different. My brain says Celtics, Phoenix. I just think that Phoenix with KD is just going to be too much for those West teams that are now trying to incorporate new players in a short amount of time. And plus, Denver, who's, I think that most teams can come up with a way to stifle Jokic. And after that, all you have is maybe Jamal Murray. They just don't have enough to beat a team like Phoenix. And Memphis, those young guys, they're confident, but I think they're a little overconfident. And I think that that's going to be their undoing come playoff time. I can see them as a first round exit because they're not quite, they feel themselves a little bit too much. And I think that that's going to get them, if they run into a Clippers team or even a Dallas team, I think that's going to get them an early exit. So that's what my brain says. My brain says Boston, Phoenix in the finals. My gut says something a little different. My gut says Milwaukee. It's just, I think Giannis is on another tear. I think he's on another crusade to get that team on his back and get him there. And with Middleton having a lot of rest and starting to kind of get into shape, him being healthy and 100% healthy and not a lot of wear and tear in the playoffs will be huge. Adding Jay Crowder to be able to kind of play that PJ Tucker role when they won the championship, where he can kind of guard, the main superstars and kind of be a nuisance for them, and maybe hit a three every now and then, hit a shot. I think that Brook Lopez can hit big shots. They can get Bobby Portis back, who's huge. And Joe Ingles. They got a lot of firepower. And then they have a megastar in Giannis. So I think my gut says Milwaukee and Phoenix. So I'm picking Phoenix to win the West outright. I just don't see any dark horse teams. Clippers could. Denver could. Dallas, I'm just not. I got to see more of Dallas. But this is all assuming KD's healthy and KD's KD. So this is all assumptions. I mean, I'm saying I haven't seen Dallas. I haven't seen Phoenix. So, but, KD's a guy that comes back, and he usually comes back and is able to go. So, yeah. And who do I think wins? If it's Milwaukee, Phoenix, I think Milwaukee in 6. I think Milwaukee's just well-oiled to beat any type of, team that comes their way. I think they're designed to be able to adapt to any kind of team. If it's Boston and Phoenix, I'm going to go the East again. I'm going to go Boston. I think, the sour taste from last year still in them. They're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to be a little bit too much. They got lots of defenders they can throw out there, and they got shooters. They got Mike Muscala. He's a shooter. You got Grant Williams, Tatum, Brown. And then you got Marcus Smart. You can throw, you got those three that can defend. Yeah, it's going to be tough. And Phoenix just isn't, they don't have much of a bench right now. So assuming they don't get much from the buyout market, their 5 going to have to play heavy minutes, and they're going to have to to get through a tough young Boston team. So I think either way, championship is coming back to the East Coast, but we'll see. So we're going to conclude the first episode of season 4. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you have any inquiries, you could hit me up at goatcast1@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter at goatcastc. If you want to add me on Facebook, it's Charter Walter. Just add me. If you got any groups you want to add me to or anything, just add me as a friend. If you like, hit it with a like button. If you want to subscribe on the YouTube page. I'm gonna have the link in my Spotify for YouTube, and also on YouTube I will have a link to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. You can find me in most places. So this upcoming season, I'm gonna try to do different forms of entertainment like I usually do. I may do something for the All-Star weekend, don't know, but I will definitely be trying to incorporate some anime stuff. Some, Dragon Ball Super has some interesting stuff going on. Not Naruto, but Boruto also. So, and might have some guests. So we'll see about that. Also, there's a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling, so I will be trying to do the Wrestling Minute and some other. I didn't get the Royal Rumble review out quick enough. Thought it was a great event. We got Elimination Chamber coming up. Big storyline with the Bloodline. AEW's got stuff going on. Who knows? But so be on the lookout for all of those. This is season 4, episode 1. And I will try to be back by the end of this week with some kind of anime corner or something. So be on the lookout for that. And once again, like, subscribe, and help a young, or not a young, I'm not very young, but help a new podcast out. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one.